Lathan, thank you so much for 5 years at Point of Rental.
Yeah, that went by really quick.
What did you do before working here?
So I've always been a recruiter, more like in like the third party aspect. So never really in like a corporate, HR setting.
Okay.
More like if a customer needs to have so many accountants or SDRs or software developers, I would have to go out and find them and then match them with with several different companies. But this is my first job actually being like only like a specific company's recruiter.
Oh, okay.
It's very different, but I love it. That's why I've been here for so long.
Awesome. Yeah. So how did you hear about Point of Rental?
So I knew Preston Harris and I knew Lauren back in college. We were in the same class and we ran around with the same group of friends, kind of. So it was way after graduation. I think I reached out to Preston because I had heard that his family had owned a software company, and I just thought on a whim, hey, I don't know if you're looking for a recruiter. At the time I was looking for a job. And he said, we're not at the moment. This would have been around 2017 or 18. And he said, we're not looking right now, but maybe down the line. And like a year to the day, he reached back out to me saying, hey, about that recruiting job, are you open? And at the time, I was actually working at Lockheed Martin, and I thought, okay, this is where I'm going to live and die. But then, when Preston talked to me a little bit about the work culture here, and even about the product and the industry that we're in, which is very specific what we do, I couldn't not interview for it. So I met with all of the hiring managers, directors, and I thought, yeah, this feels a lot more social than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's kind of how I heard about it.
Gotcha. So you started off as a recruiter. Is that what you're doing now currently as well?
Yes.
Okay. Has any additional responsibilities from when you started, or is it a pretty similar?
Yeah, I think when I started, it was mostly for the U.S. I do help out the U.K. and Australia, those branches as well. When I went, time differential, notwithstanding, which can make things a little bit difficult. But that's mostly what I do, because we're always looking to hire for new talent, whether we have a specific job open at the time, but we happen to have a really good referral who's really great at software support, or someone who would be an awesome person to add to the IT team, or someone that would just kill it as a sales rep. Something I love about Point of Rental is that they are willing to sometimes open up a job if it's worth bringing on, such a good, culture fit and someone that would do the job justice. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're working globally, so that's a pretty big responsibility.
Yeah.
Technically.
Kind of. Yeah. It's more fun. It has become more fun than it is, anything else. I have a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple of things that you enjoy about Point of Rental, but what is your favorite? I know you mentioned culture and some of the freedoms that you have.
Yeah. So something I'll say this to candidates who I'm also interviewing as well. Something that has stuck with me ever since I started is that no matter what your role is here, whether you're a recruiter like me or if you're in marketing like you, Scott. Sorry, Scott, I just went blank on your position. But
web developer.
Web developer. Yes, that's right. Whatever your position here is, I don't feel that you're ever micromanaged. I feel that we hire subject matter experts within their own field, and your managers and directors are kind of just there to help you out if you need it for any extra resources or whatnot. And not all companies, not all businesses are like that, Scott. It's they're kind of singular in that, I would say.
Yeah, no, I think it's a lot of, if you're already motivated to do a good job, the rest is just giving them the tools and enabling them to do that, or I guess empowering them to do that, right?
Good job. Yeah.
All right. So zooming out a little bit from work, are there any hobbies or interests that you're into right now that you could feel like you could talk for hours and hours, or any movies?
You already knew this. Yeah, movies. I'm like a movie buff. I've actually considered, you mentioned that you have your own YouTube channel.
That's right.
I am extremely amateur film critic. I
Oh.
will watch any type of movie, any time of day. Not during work hours, of course, but because I have a very huge appetite for a lot of different types of movies.
Sorry. Well,
But I've even thought, hey, just to start off, I should probably open up like a workplace group for just movie buffs. I think that would be a good idea.
so are you also like posting reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that, or?
I'm so close to doing that, but I'll read all of the reviews, and it's interesting to see like what critics deem awesome or terrible, and what audience consider wonderful or just bad. So, but yeah, I love movies. If you walk by my office, you'll know that I'm kind of obsessed with Legos. I
Okay.
have been obsessed with Legos since I was 6 years old.
Well, then the Lego movie must have been a real like
Oh man, like
convergence of interest.
that was wonderful. And then the Lego Batman movie too is a really good Batman movie
fantastic.
too.
It shouldn't be that good, but it is.
It is. But yeah, those are a couple of passions. And then obviously I love my daughter. Me and my wife are of course obsessed. She's our first kid, and she can do no wrong. I now get it. I now understand why, my dad was a little bit easier on my sister than me. It's like, yeah, I get it now. It's hard to be disciplined to your daughter.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so going back, let's say that there's which I'm sure you deal with quite often. A new pointer, whether they're being hired in your department or others. What's the number one advice that you would give them on that first day?
The number one advice I would probably give is don't feel embarrassed or fearful of asking questions, whether it's to your manager or someone on your team, or even if it's someone that's not even in your own department. Get a feel for being able to just talk to anybody at any time.
Yeah.
Meetings notwithstanding, but getting into a new job in a new industry can be a little intimidating sometimes. But I would say that our culture here is such that you can basically talk to anybody, and if you have a question, you'll find someone that will be able to help you. And I really like that here.
Yeah, I mean, most people are very passionate about what they do. So if you're asking about a topic that they work in, they're going to be more like, oh, let me talk to you about this.
Yeah, you'll get more than your share of information usually. So,
all right. Well, Lathan, we're on the final question. We're going to pretend that you're standing and maybe you become movie critic to movie director and you won an Oscar, right? That's when you're standing with a little guy.
Yep.
And who are you thanking for, everything that you've accomplished up in these 5 years? 5 years is a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm very happy that I've got to know both Preston and Lauren at the time that I did. But at the same time, I did have to interview for the role. So I appreciate with everyone that I interviewed for it. I appreciate them giving me a shot at this. There were definitely probably a lot of other more qualified, people for this position, but I hope I've done the job justice, and I want to continue doing as best as I can.
Well, I know you hired/recruited me, so I appreciate that.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. That was how long have you been here now? 4 years?
No, just 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, middle of 2020.
Cool. It's coming up for you.
Yeah, something like that. Well, again, Lathan, thank you so much for 5 years, and here's for 5 more, and then 5 more after that, and who knows, right?
Cheers. Yeah. Next 50 years.